Ferrari are entering the 2024 season with a very interesting and challenging situation ahead of them, having two very competitive drivers who have a lot at stake when it comes to proving their own worth. But with Sainz's time with Ferrari already being done, the Spaniard has opened up on his priority in the 2024 season, and it's definitely not something that the Maranello team would like. Could this move towards more preferred approach from Ferrari towards Leclerc? And, if so, will it trigger some unwanted moves from Sainz throughout the entire course of the 2024 season? Sainz has a difficult campaign ahead of himself because of the fact that he's entering the season exactly like he didn't want, not knowing where he'll drive in the 2025 season. On top of that, he's been informed that he'll be replaced by Lewis Hamilton in what seems to be the biggest bombshell in the history of the sport. So you can definitely see that the morale and the confidence of Sainz have a huge potential of taking a massive dip in the 2024 season. Therefore, the last thing he would want to do is just to cruise in the last season of being Leclerc's teammate. His ultimate goal would be to beat the Monegasque driver and prove to any team out there that he is the proper driver choice for them. With the Mercedes seat still open, Sainz has recently talked about where his priorities lie in terms of securing a stable and competitive squad's offer for 2025. But we'll get to that later in this video. First, let's see what Sainz had to say about his goal headed into the 2024 season, something that Ferrari will definitely not like. It doesn't take that much of a genius mind to understand that Sainz won't obey any team rules. Even when he was considered as a vital and integral part of Ferrari, he still made his own tactics on a couple of occasions, such as Monaco and Silverstone 2022. And these are the races in which he managed to build a reputation of smart and an independent driver when all odds are stacked against him, even his own team tactics. But for 2024, Sainz will definitely focus on himself and not Ferrari, meaning that he won't help them in the development of the 2025 car and won't care about the team's ultimate goal, as a scenario that his team has put him in literally screams every man for himself. Adding to this matter in a further extent, Sainz spoke to the renowned Spanish media Marca, elaborating, "Well, first I'd like to sort out my future, to be clear about where I'm going to go, where I'm going to race, what's coming next. And then, the rest of the year, for sure the approach changes a little bit, because it's true that I already know that this year the only thing left for me to focus on each race. Ferrari is not going to count on me as much to develop the car, and that allows me to focus solely and exclusively on getting the most out of the SF24 and myself, to give Ferrari and myself the best possible farewell." What Sainz has also spoken about is his future with the other teams on the grid, with seats like Red Bull and Mercedes being the most attractive ones out there. But with Red Bull likely to continue with the collaboration with Perez if the Mexican veteran isn't replaced by Ricciardo, and Mercedes committed to promoting from within with Kimi Antonelli or bringing a championship caliber material like Alonso, Sainz might focus on a very different projection with Sauber, the team that would turn into Audi from 2026 onwards, or even Williams, as the Spaniard admitted that he's literally talking to everyone in the paddock about a potential seat. What is also very important to note is that the 2024 car has been more suited towards Leclerc's needs, as the Monegasque driver went on to say that the Challenger feels much more healthy compared to the SF23, and he enjoys driving it to a greater extent. The additional pressure of not knowing where Sainz will drive in 2025 will apply a lot of uncertainty and lack of motivation in his driving, because he stated many times that if he finds himself in a situation where he has to hunt for a seat while already driving for a team that won't extend his contract, then it's literally the worst scenario that Sainz could find himself into. Elaborating on this matter in a further extent and answering the question about his future in F1, Sainz went on to say, "My name is now linked to everything, not only Audi or Mercedes, because realistically, I'm talking to everyone and I'm seeing all of my options. My future is clear in terms of I will not be in Ferrari in 2025. So all the focus is on 2024 and how to extract the maximum performance. We will push that out together to win as many races as possible and be competitive this year. Obviously, I will not be focusing on developing this car because I'm not going to drive it next year. But in regards to this year's car, I'm going to be flat out and giving my absolute best, with the expectation of them giving also their best for this year." But what hurts even more is hearing Sainz say that the move from Ferrari was a hard hit for his confidence, as well as his future in F1, because he was fairly confident that this is the team with which he will have many successful seasons. But then everything changed so quickly and he found himself in the least desired situation of his career. This only brings more motivation for Sainz to actually drive the wheels off the SF24 and prove to the world that he isn't called the smooth operator for no reason, a challenge that if failed could have irreversible repercussions on his F1 career. Ferrari have also spoken about the elephant in the room, which is Sainz still driving for Ferrari for the entirety of the 2024 season, while knowing that 2025 would see him being replaced with a 7-time world champion, and according to the Maranello team, they would give everything they can in order to support the smooth operator in every corner, every week. This is kind of hard to understand, because while the ultimate goal for Ferrari would be to have two drivers scoring high, we've seen that when both of them went into fair and square racing, it didn't really bring that much of points or results. All it did was create unnecessary drama and gave other teams a bit more place to catch up with the Maranello squad. But that was in a time where both of the drivers were fighting for the driver's spot ahead of 2024, and with Leclerc securing the lucrative contract first, it was obvious where Ferrari's priorities lie. It might be a bit strange to replace the driver in the team, because the major belief is that the issue with Ferrari is not with how the drivers are executing the race pace with the car, but with how the engineers are building around the feedback being provided from the drivers themselves. And while Hamilton would be a massive improvement in this field compared to both Ferrari drivers, time will tell whether it would be enough to win championships with the Maranello squad. The 7-time world champion has also thrown a shade towards the Italian team, saying that they will have a lot of work to do in order to be competitive in 2025. And while they are now dubbed to be the second fastest team for the 2024 season, the underlying tension between Sainz and Leclerc has the potential to ruin what could be a great season for Ferrari. Another indicator that Ferrari have given up on Sainz much earlier than he would have anticipated, even though he was full of praise from Vasseur, is the latest statement from Hamilton, who said that had it not been for the Frenchman, he would have never joined Ferrari. Obviously, the ultimate goal for the Maranello team was to always bring Hamilton at the price of Sainz being sacked from the team. And while this is a move that not many teams would think about twice, Ferrari had a young and competitive drivers lineup that were barely the issue as to why the team performed the way they did. Leclerc also has a lot to drive about. This is the driver who will have a 7-time world champion as his teammate headed into the 2025 season, and he needs to make one thing sure: he is the driver to beat in Ferrari. Yes, the experience is on the side of Hamilton, and the championship experience is not even worth comparing to any other driver out there. But at the end of the day, it's Hamilton who is coming into a new environment, and thanks to the no-poach clause in his contract, he won't be able to bring his gang to Maranello as quickly as he wanted to. Now, there is a very interesting comparison that has been going on in the F1 world, and that is the mentality of the current Ferrari lineup, Sainz and Leclerc. For example, Leclerc is a very self-critique-oriented driver. He wants to punish himself with words when he makes a mistake, such as the case in Baku, where he crashed at the castle and labelled himself as stupid. On the other hand, Sainz has much stronger mental stamina. He doesn't give up easily, and even if hell breaks loose on him, the last thing you'll see from him is giving up. This might be one of the best virtues that you'd be looking for in a racing driver, so saying that Sainz's future is bright is definitely an understatement. On the other hand, he is the driver who doesn't have a driving seat for the 2025 season, and while the situation in which he's currently is can be compared to the one Hamilton is with Mercedes, at least the Brit knows where he'll be for the next couple of years. This doesn't help a lot in terms of focusing a lot on the future and making sure that you live in the moment, not in the future by trying to secure a seat apart from trying to win races and podiums, something that would help your ultimate future goal. With this in mind, what do you think about Ferrari's 2024 season and Sainz's statements regarding his feedback on the SF24? Let us know in the comments below.